There we go. Now I'm live. All right. Hello, 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 everybody. How are you guys today? Excited to be here. I'm excited about today's topic because it's one of my favorite things to talk about when it comes to business. A lot of people think that business is, mechanical. It's all these tools and tactics and strategies, and that's all true, but there's just a there's a real mindset side to being in business, of any business. But today we're going to be talking about the top 10 mindset blocks for handmade sellers who are trying to sell online. So in the description of this video, you should see a list. So I just put the list out there. And what I want to do today is really talk about, I'm going to start the list, but what I'd like for you guys to do is look at the list and tell me what things you are getting stuck with. What are things that you're finding that from this list that are holding you back and keeping you from the success that you want in your business? While you're looking at the list, looking it over and seeing what applies to you, I am going to grab something real quick here. There it is. All right. So as usual, when I come on these lives, I let everybody know that, hey, I'm Allie. I am the founder of Handmade Sellers Club. I help handmade sellers sell their products online the easy, fast, and fun way with Facebook. And several times, often during this next hour that we're going to hang out here together, you're going to hear me reference Handmade Sellers Club. You might be wondering, hey, what is actually in the club? Is it right for me, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to drop a link in the comments, and I'm going to drop this link a couple of times during our conversation today. If at any point I start talking about something that's in Handmade Sellers Club, I'll drop that link so that those of you that are new here and you're like, hey, I'm not quite sure what this Handmade Sellers Club is, you can click that link, go check it out, learn about everything that is in Handmade Sellers Club. Long and short of it, Handmade Sellers Club is a community where we help handmade sellers make their sales online. It's a supportive community where we answer your questions, give you support, give you feedback, and cheer along with you. When you become a Handmade Sellers Club member, you get my entire super seller system. You get my entire super seller system and the super seller success roadmap. And that is the step-by-step, again, fastest, easiest, most fun way of selling your handmade products online. We have tested this system over the past 6 years now. We keep tweaking and refining it to get members results faster and faster. And we've just released the Super Seller Success Roadmap, which I'm super excited about because the roadmap takes you from the very beginning of like, start with this, then go to that. If you get here and you're stuck, then stop. Before you move forward, make sure you're doing these things. Now, we've always had something like that, but this roadmap, I think, lays it out the best that we've ever done. Very excited about it. The members have been really excited about it, finding it very easy to use in the community, and actually get through the training modules and take action. And that's the most important. There's every single training module that we reference in the Super Seller Success Roadmap has action steps along with it, as well as the action steps are right there in the training as well. So that's what Handmade Sellers Club is. And there's more. We have the small shop discovery opportunities where you can get featured. One of these days, I'm going to do a live just talking about all the really cool ways that small shop discovery can feature you to our audience of buyers. How we can create user-generated content for you, et cetera, et cetera. So one of these days, I'm going to put a video together about that because I'm not even sure members know all of the different ways that we can promote them for them. They know a bunch, but there's some that we're seeing underutilized. So I'm thinking maybe members are missing it. So we're going to do a video about that sometime in the future. Okay, so what we're here to talk about today, and link for Handmade Success Secrets is, or Handmade Sellers Club is in the comments for those of you just popping on. But what we're going to be talking about today is the top 10 mindset blocks for handmade sellers who are trying to show up and sell online. Now, being visible, putting yourself out there, feeling vulnerable, being very uncertain about what you're doing, if you're doing the right thing, can be nerve wracking, right? It can be absolutely terrifying. And for some people, it's paralyzing. And I know that it was for me. I definitely had a perfectionist streak, not so much with my handmade business, but more with this business. The handmade business, it didn't bother me as much. But with this business, I'm a lot more visible in this business than what I did in the rabbit toy business. And it really took me a while to get past some of the mental hangups. And I'm not going to say I don't have any, because of course we all still have insecurities and little things that pop up. But I did not see success in my coaching business, in this membership that I've put together, until I dealt with these mindset issues. And I see these same issues popping up over and over and over again for handmade sellers as well. They ask about it in Handmade Sellers Club. Even the webinar that I hosted last night, some of the issues that we're going to talk about here was popping up in the webinar when people are like, yeah, I don't know, but they get really, really nervous about making themselves vulnerable that way. So we're going to go through, I'm going to kind of just read through the list. And I want you guys, again, the list is attached to both the, whether you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook, it's in the description. But I'm going to read through this list, and I want you guys to tell me which ones that you identify with as I go through this list. So these are the top 10 mindset blocks for handmade sellers. So number one, I don't want to sound salesy. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be pushy. The below that I have, they fear being pushy or annoying even when they know their product is great. So if that's you, let me know in the comments. Number two, what if I fail in front of everyone? This one comes up a lot. They're terrified of going all in, not getting sales, and having people see them fall flat. Number three, no one wants to hear from me. They assume their story isn't interesting or valuable enough to share. Number four, I don't know what to say. They stare at the screen, overthink every word, and end up posting nothing at all. Let me know if that is you. Number five, what if people judge me? Fear of criticism, especially from friends, family, old coworkers, keeps them playing small. Number six, I'm not tech savvy. They believe online success is only for people who understand algorithms, SEO, and all the techie stuff. This is one I hear a lot. In fact, people will preface that in even HSC. They're like, I'm not tech savvy. And I'm like, cool, that's fine. You don't have to be tech savvy. And yeah, so I'm not tech savvy. And that stops a lot of people from even trying because they assume that the tech is too far beyond them. Number seven, it's already been done. They think their product or niche is too saturated and that there's no room for them to succeed. Number eight, I'm not interesting enough. They don't see themselves as a brand or someone others would want to follow. Number nine, I don't like being on camera. They avoid selfies, lives, or reels because they feel clumsy, nervous, or unsure of what to do. And number 10, I'm not ready yet. They keep waiting for the perfect photos, logo, product line, or confidence and never take the leap. So which one of those do you feel like you resonate with the most? Janice says, I attended the class last night. How do we do the yearly subscription? The link didn't work for me last night. So I did send an email, Janice. If you did not get that email, send us an email. Let me drop it in the comments here. Send us an email and we will get that link directly to you. But I did send it. around 10 o'clock, 10 or 11. Between 10 and 11, I sent it. Janice says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, and 10. Well, 7 out of 10. Can't pick just one. Okay, so we're getting number 9. We've got number 9 twice here. So let's talk about that. I don't like being on camera. You'll avoid selfies, lives, or reels because you feel clumsy, nervous, or unsure of what to do. I love this subject because I was the same way. I tried to figure out early on when I was trying to learn internet marketing and video was starting to become a thing. I'm like, there's got to be a way that I can do this without actually being on camera, like without actually showing my face, because I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So I would just like show my hands, and the videos were always terrible. They were always just absolutely terrible. And the thing is I have a history of public speaking. Like I'm okay with public speaking, but I was terrified to be on camera. And I remember the very first time I went live, I finally got to myself to the point where I could record a video of me talking and then upload it. And then I'm like, if I go live, I don't have to record it, then upload it. It just uploads it. So I should just go live. And I stared at that computer screen and I stared at it and I stared at that live button, and I could feel the heart palpitations and I could feel the adrenaline coursing through my body. And I'm like, what if I face plant, right? What if I royally screw up? I can't re-record it. I can't start again from the beginning. I'm stuck. Everybody's going to see like how embarrassing that was, that I misspoke or I mispronounced the word, or I'm doing too many ums and ahs or whatever it is, right? Like that was my fear, was I was not going to sound polished, that I was going to make mistakes, and therefore it was going to suck. And everybody was going to see me suck live, and there was just no way to take it back. So let's unpack it. So I always like to say to my kids, like, follow the what ifs, right? When you have what ifs, what if this happens? What if that happens? You always have to answer the what if. You always have to follow it down its logical path and decide whether or not you're going to die, right? That's the test here. I don't want anybody here to die. I don't want anybody here to cease to live because you went Facebook Live. So let's follow the logical steps of all the things that you're afraid of. So for those of you that are afraid of being on video, I want you to tell me what your fears are in the comments. But let's start with some. You mispronounce a word. What if you do? What if you mispronounce a word? People are going to hear you mispronounce a word. You might correct it. You might not catch it. And then what? They're going to know that you mispronounced that word. And then maybe they think that you're uneducated. I got a hate comment the other day, a couple of months ago, actually, that I said, etc. instead of etc. I admit I say etc. I just do. It's how I learned how to say it. I understand that etc. is correct, but I say etc. Now, I had somebody reach out to me and say, I hope you know how terribly uneducated you sound when you say etc. And I said, okay. Cool. And I continued on with my life. Now, it took me some practice to get to that point, to be able to kind of like let that kind of stuff roll off my back. I have not fixed my pronunciation of the word etc. I still say etc. It's just the way that I say it. At the same time, it drives me nuts when people say espresso. Like that one, I know that's espresso, right? But etc. is just it's just my word now. So one person thinks that I'm uneducated, but a whole lot of people have never said a word about it. In fact, I would say tens of thousands of people at this point, with how many views we've gotten on Facebook, we have over 13,000 followers on this page. I've got the Vendor Success Secrets page. We've got the YouTube channel, which, by the way, if you're not following us on YouTube yet, go on over there and follow us. I've been I've spoken in front of large groups. Now, I don't know how many times I said the word in front of those groups, but at this point, I've said the wrong word a lot of times. I haven't died. And I've got a pretty successful business, because at the end of the day, what really matters is that I'm getting people results, not whether or not I'm pronouncing a word correctly. So there's one, the fear you might mispronounce a word, right? I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I look on camera. Okay, so I go on camera and I don't like the way that I look. And then what? And then what? So first of all, everybody in public sees me every time I go outside. If I leave the house, people see me. If I'm talking to my husband, somebody is seeing me. If I'm talking to my kids, somebody is looking at me, right? They're looking at me. If you set up at a craft show, all kinds of people see you. The only thing different about you going on video is you see you. Well, you see yourself when you're in the mirror. And now you know what you look like when other people are seeing you. And so that's kind of weird that you have that awareness. And maybe you don't like exactly what it is that's looking back at you. But then what? So you don't like it, but you know you could make more sales if you do it. Especially, I mean, if you're in Handmade Sellers Club, you know that you can make more sales by going live. Going live is like the most beautiful way to make sales on Facebook, is going live. If you've done our live giveaway party on Small Shop Discovery, or the live sale on Small Shop Discovery, or you've gone live on your own page, you know that gets more interaction, it gets more inquiries than anything else that you can do. So that uncomfortability in sales, right? Well, what are you willing to do to protect your uncomfortability? And are you willing to sacrifice the sales in order to protect your uncomfortability? Because that's what you're doing. To be clear, that's what you're doing. So the long and the short of it is, if you see yourself on camera and you don't like it, you're not going to die. You're not going to die. I've gotten to the point where I'm amused by me. At first, I was terrified. I'm like, I don't like what I look like on camera. I don't want everybody to see me. And now I'm like, oh, look, there's me. There's me talking to me. I think that's so funny. But I have not ever had that confidence in any way ever before. Okay. It just took practice and doing it enough times to realize, you know what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You care way more than everybody else. And you're protecting your perception of yourself by sacrificing sales. So that's one way to think about it. What are some other ways? Peggy says, oh, that was me. I did not want to show my face either, but I did it. Also find an assistant to do videos with. I have my grandson, Harry, and he is an attention grabber. Yeah, Harry is fantastic. And Peggy does great on her lives. You just show up and you talk. It's literally no different than standing in front of people at a show and answering questions and showing them your products. The only difference is the people are all across the United States, and you need a camera to project your image there. That's the difference. Beaded Glitz Galore says, I love going live because people really get to know my personality. I am just me, and I like to be just me and show that I'm just a regular person. Yeah, and that's the thing that we've had a lot of members who are like, absolutely no, I will never, ever, ever, ever go live, and you can't make me. And then I finally get them to do the 5-day Facebook Live challenge, which we do in HSC. And by the end, they're like, actually, you know what? This is kind of fun. And then they start doing it on their own page, and they're addicted, and they've got a scheduled weekly live, and they're doing live sales consistently, and they're going live consistently, and they end up having a blast, right? It's really it's getting past that initial hump, right? The only way out is through. The only way that you get over your fear of going live is just going live. Tiffany says, I'm scared to go live because I have debilitating self-image issues. I'm working on that. I'm also afraid that people will not find me interesting and I'll do something that will run off potential buyers. They like the product, but will not like me. I'm worried about self-sabotage. All right, let's work through all that. So first of all, I'm glad you're working on the debilitating self-image issues. Again, I don't know to what extent you are, but I definitely had some, especially in my teenage years, some really strong self-image issues. And I look back now and I realize that none of the stuff that I thought was true, none of the things that I was telling myself about myself was true. And I wish I could have that time back, because like, oh my gosh, how much I missed out on because I thought that I was just like the creature from the Black Lagoon, right? That's what everybody else was seeing. And so I shrunk and I hid and I protected myself and I masked up around that kind of stuff because it was very, very debilitating. But I was still functioning in every day. I could leave the house, that sort of thing. But I was sure that everybody was seeing me as just like this terrible, horrible looking person. So I always knew that I was smart and I had interesting things to say, but I always thought that like physically that I was just the worst. And I think any kid, any girl growing up in the 80s and 90s, that's what we were fed. That's how they wanted us to feel about ourselves. So I think that was probably pretty common. So I'm glad you're working on that. Definitely work with your therapist. Definitely work on, practicing. I highly recommend next time we do a journaling challenge to take the journaling challenge. It's a great exercise for working on, things that are identifying those things that are holding you back and changing the narrative. So, all right, you're afraid that people will not find me interesting. Okay. What is that based on? Is that based on reality or is that based on a fear? Because if you haven't gone live yet, you don't know that that's going to be true, right? You just think that that's a possibility. What if they find you super interesting? So let's flip that. What if they find you super interesting? What if instead of finding you uninteresting, they find you super interesting? Is that just as realistic of a possibility as not finding you interesting? I'm going to argue that it is. I'm going to argue that you're super interesting, you're not interesting at all, and everything in between. And for every single person that potentially joins that live, they could fall anywhere on that spectrum. So what happens if they don't find you interesting? Does it mean that your business is doomed? No. Does it mean that people are going to threaten you and boycott you? No. No. What does it mean if they find you uninteresting? What does that actually mean for your business? And that you'll do something to run off potential buyers was the rest of that. So one of the assumptions that we make, I think that we make as human beings, is that there is the perfect person, right? There is the perfect person that everybody likes, and that we have to pretend to be this perfect person so that we are palatable to everybody around us. I felt that as well. I could not, I was very uncomfortable with the idea that anybody would ever not like me, like my personality. I did a lot to be likable, like to not offend people, especially like in my later 20s, 30s. That was like my goal. Like nobody's ever going to have a problem with me because I'm a likable person. I don't get upset by things. And then my cousin's wife really didn't like me. Like really didn't like me. And she would tell my mom, she's like, Allie's so weird. And my mom's like, I like to say eccentric. So kudos to my mom. I thought that was very sweet. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm weird. I am weird. So I'm not like everybody else. And I'm definitely not like her kind of people, right? Um, and so from her perspective, I'm very, very weird because she's very normal. I'm not. I don't fall along those lines in almost any way. So, um, so I did find out that there was a reason she didn't like me. It was because of a misunderstanding that my parents did, and I didn't know that it had happened. So she disliked me for years and years and years and years, and I was upset by that. I was like, oh my gosh, like this person doesn't like me. Why don't they like me? And then I was just like, that's her problem, right? And then later I learned about the misunderstanding. And at that point, she had been so cold to me for so long that I'm like, I'm okay with there being people out there not liking me. Now, there are some people that will come onto this live and they're going to hear me talk and they're going to say, I don't like her. I've talked a lot about, I have competitors in this space, and again, I'm very not normal. I don't, especially like online, I'm not like the influencer with the blonde hair and the perfectly, I've got dirt under my fingernails. I was gardening all, I tried to get most of it out because like out of context, it does look filthy. But I get dirt up underneath my fingernails. Um, I wear sometimes a little bit of lipstick, but pretty much there's no makeup here. My hair tends to stick out in 26 different directions. I had to do a lot of work before I even got on this live, just so that I felt comfortable with the state of this. Um, and then there's these other people that are just very prim and proper, and they have just amazing lighting and a studio, and they scripted videos. And so some people watching me will say, I love that. And other people watching me, even though I've not made any major mistakes other than saying, etc. Other than that, I've not made any major mistakes. I haven't cursed. I haven't put anybody down. I haven't I'm not being offensive in the broad sense of the word. They just don't jive with me, right? They're like, she doesn't seem like, that's not really the vibe I'm going for my handmade business or for my marketing and for whatever. And then they go off and they find another coach and they say, yes, her or him, right? That's the kind of person I want to listen to. What they're saying resonates directly with me. I like the way they look. I like the way they talk. I like specifically the subjects that they're talking about versus Allie, right? Now that's happening every day. That's happening right now on this video. So I cannot spend an entire video trying to be all of the things that somebody would like, that everybody would like. It's impossible. So I finally came to the conclusion, it's best to just be 100% authentically me and attract in the people that are authentically attracted to me, and repel the people that are not. I had a little bit of I don't want to say a tiff because it wasn't really a tiff. There was a guy in the comments in Vendor Success Secrets that said that anything that I had to teach, he could just chat GPT and find those answers. And I'm like, cool, go for it. Like, that's fine if you want to use chat GPT. It's not what I teach, but it's going to give you some stuff and like, cool. And I'd actually be interested in seeing what you get. And so he posted what he got. And I'm like, yeah, that's a really good example of how technically all this can work, but it's a lot of tech. It's going to take a lot of time. There's just a lot of effort there when you could just take the shortcut, but like, cool. Right. So I wasn't really trying to win him over because immediately, because he approaches the subject that way, I know that we're not going to jive. I know that he's not my kind of people. So I wasn't chasing him and begging him to like me and listen to me. I was mostly replying to the comments for other people in the comments to see how I would reply to those comments. But I was authentically being me, right? So yeah, people that are going to say that, I'm a money hungry coach that's just trying to steal everybody's money and and everything that I'm teaching is on Chat GPT anyhow. And then there's others that are going to be like, I feel like she's very authentic and that she actually cares, which I do. And I hope that I put that out. And when I genuinely put that out there, those people that are looking for that kind of connection are going to connect. So I guess what I'm saying, long and short of it, is worrying that you're going to turn off somebody on your video because they're seeing your face and they're hearing your voice is not something to actually worry about, because there's no negative side to that. If you turn somebody off, they go away. Sometimes they're a little cheeky in the comments. Like I was called the C word on a live once. And so we're like, okay, ban them. And then we move on with our lives. But the people who don't resonate are going to go away. But the people who do resonate are going to be sucked into your orbit like crazy. Have you ever met a person like that where you're like, this person is me? Like they get me. We're on the same wavelength. We're right in line with each other. The right audience is going to think that you're so cool. The wrong audience is going to think that you're nuts, weird, crazy, whatever. Both is okay. Both are okay. It's okay. Now, being afraid that you're not going to make sales because some people don't like you is basically saying, I'm going to hide under a basket and not sell anything because I'm afraid if I'm visible, there's a certain segment of the population that won't buy from me. Well, they're not buying from you now. It's not like, oh, I'm buying from her, but oh, I saw her live and now I'm not going to buy from you. Like I'm going to take my order back. This is just a scenario that you're creating in your head that's not based on any reality. Again, we feel like it's real, but when you really break it down, how many times have you seen that online? How many times have you seen people get canceled, but you know what? People who get canceled, people that say the most horrific things on the planet, if they continue to just show up, people still follow them. People still like them. People still support them. People still give them money. Like I'm trying not to get political here, but there are situations in our world where there are horrible, terrible people that you can put on paper and show how terrible those people are, and they still have supporters. They still have people that show up and vote for them, that give them money, that go to their business, that whatever it is, right? They're still going to have a loyal following, no matter how terrible they are. And my guess is, Tiffany, that you're not going to show up and just start spewing terrible, horrible things. But instead that you'll just be like tripping on your words and ums and ahs a little bit. And that's okay. With your very first live, it's going to be ums and ahs and I'm not quite sure. And then your second live, it may be the same. And your third live, it may be the same. And then the fourth live, you're like, okay, well, I realized that I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about. So I made, let me put some bullet points down. And that way I stay on topic. Like you can start to adjust. Once you get past the nerves, you start to adjust and you learn a new skill. And that's the other, I think, big false belief that people have is that I'm not good at, therefore I can't. And that's the biggest load of hogwash on the planet. I'm not good at, therefore I can't. I'm not currently good at that. Let me learn how. So if you think that you're going to misspeak and run off potential buyers because you're not good at going live, or you're I don't know, like, are you afraid of doing that in a normal conversation with like your mom or your sister or your brother or whomever it is? Are you like, I'm going to misspeak? If that's the case, then yes, you definitely are going to need additional help in your life to help you get past that. But there's people in your life, most of us, all of us have people in our life where we're comfortable just being ourselves around. And that's just that familiarity. And the more you go live, the more familiarity that you gain. as far as selfies and reels, like those are recorded. You can delete and retake. It's not a big deal until something is good enough, and then post it, and then learn how to make it better and learn how to make it better. Tiffany says they might like the product but will not like me. What evidence do we have of that? Is that real or is that imagined? I'm worried about self-sabotage. And fair enough, self-sabotage will happen if what you're saying in your brain is, I'm going to mess up, they're going to hate me. You can self-sabotage that way. But it doesn't matter even if you do. It doesn't even matter if you do, because then you can go live again and then you can try again. This is not pass or fail. This is not, I'm taking a test and I either ace it or I fail. And then that's it. That's the final word. Life is not pass or fail. Life is, okay, I did it once. I kind of screwed up on some things, but I didn't die, right? So let me try it again. And let me try it again. And you develop that skill over time instead of thinking that it's over. Because I've had people say, oh, I went live once and nobody showed up. Like, okay, did you go live again? Well, no, nobody showed up to the first one. I'm like, how are you going to get people to show up to the second one if you don't even go live a second time? Right? Like doing something once. It's like, I want to play the cello. And so I pick up the cello and I don't know how to put my hands on. I don't know how to hold the bow. I don't know how to tune it. So I tried it once. And so it's just impossible for me to learn the cello. Like, I can't learn the cello because I tried it once and it didn't work. We know that's not how it works. Babies learn how to walk by standing up and walking. No, they crawl, they scooch first, they crawl, they pull themselves up, they start to let go, they're balancing, they fall and they fall and they fall and they fall and they fall until one day they take a couple of steps. And then they fall a few more times and then they take more steps. And then I fell a couple of months ago. I've known how to walk for 44 years. I was in half a body cast. I actually took me longer to learn how to walk because I was born with a dislocated hip and I was in half a body cast and all that. So maybe by the time I was 2, I was walking pretty good. So for 43 years, I've been walking. And I fell a couple of months ago. I was crossing the street and bloop, just fell right in the street. Does that mean I shouldn't walk again? No, that'd be crazy talk. That's crazy talk. You just get up and, I mean, it hurt and I wanted to cry and I whimpered and my husband was there and he helped me get up and I was okay. I didn't die. Now, sometimes you can fall and die, but like, that's walking. This is live. I don't know anybody who has died because they went live, right? Or hurt themselves or dislocated an elbow or broke a leg bone because they went live. It's all internal and dealing with that discomfort and talking yourself through, is this even logical to have these fears? Are these fears, do they even make sense in this case? And they don't. They just don't. You just keep showing up. You learn from it. The only time I ever consider something is a failure, and I don't even like that word, is if you refuse to learn from it. If you absolutely refuse to learn and just shut down and say, nope, tried it. Mm-mm. And sometimes that's fine too. Like there are things in my life that like, I'm not going to skydive. I have no desire for it. And some people could say that, I need to get past the mindset issues. That's okay. There's nothing in my life that's tied to skydiving. But if I want to be successful in my business, then I need to step out of my comfort zones to do things that are going to make me successful in my business. If the why is big enough, the how will follow, right? If my why is big enough, then I'm like, all right, then I have to do the thing. I have to do the thing that's going to get me the result. Have to do the thing that's going to get me the result. Carrie says the camera adds another 10 pounds. Being self-conscious derails my thought processes and working on that even in person. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, Carrie, I mean this in the best way possible. Who cares? Who cares that the camera adds 10 pounds? Nobody at home knows what you look like versus what you don't look like. There are tricks you can do with camera angles. So like my camera is up higher and my whole computer is up higher. So if I was on a laptop, it would be aiming up. and I've got a lot of chin, right? So if I go sideways, you can see I got chin there, but it's better when the camera's higher and it angles down. And so I just feel better. But over the last couple of years, I've gained quite a bit of weight. Working on it now, trying to get healthier. I'm not sure exactly what took me there, but I'm like, all right, I think it's perimenopause going on here, because it is not budging very, very easily. Working out, eating great, doing all the things that used to, when I was in my 20s, I could drop 10, 15 pounds like easy. And now it's like, nope, this is you now. And that sucks. It's not what I want. But so I've lost maybe, let's say, 20 pounds. Guess what? I did lives 20 pounds ago. I'm doing lives now. I did lives when I was skinnier. I did lives when I was heavier. I did lives all throughout. And guess what? I made sales all throughout. Like literally, it's like you're saying the camera adds another 10 pounds, therefore people won't buy. Therefore people will not want what you sell. Like, again, there's not a logical connection there. It's really just you being concerned about how you're being perceived, when it just is what it is. It just is. It just is what it is. It's not good or bad. The way that I look and how my body is right now is neutral. It is neutral to my success. It is neutral to whether or not somebody's going to sign up for Handmade Sellers Club. And if somebody doesn't sign up for Handmade Sellers Club because they're like, I don't like her, she's fat. Okay, I don't want, if that's your judgment, then we're not a good match. Because I just don't think that has anything to do with anything. It's absolutely neutral. And again, we were raised at a time, Carrie, I think you might be older than me, but raised in a time where skinny was the only thing you were allowed to be. The world's changed, and that was never true, right? That was just placed on us, and we accepted it as true. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Like, you may care, but so you care about maybe like camera adds 10 pounds, and then you care about sales. Which one is more important? That you look 10 pounds skinnier than what the camera is showing, or that you make a lot more sales? Which one of those is more important? Which one of those is going to help you reach your goals? Which one of those is going to bring in money into your bank account? Which one of those is going to take you on vacations, pay your bills, buy Christmas presents for friends and family, help you retire early, live out your RV dream, whatever that goal is? Which one of these two things will get you there? Looking 10 pounds thinner by not being on camera, or going on camera and making more sales? That's, to me, it's that simple. Now, again, it took me a long time to get to that place. I was not born with this kind of confidence. But I was born with kind of I'm going to curse now, a bullshit detector. And it sometimes it takes a while to turn that on. But after a while, I was like, this is ridiculous that we're judging the value of people based on how big their fat cells are inside their body. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is bullcrap. Like, I don't think this is real. And so, it took me a while to tune that in. I had to let go of a lot of conditioning. But once I let that go, I'm like, none of this is true. None of this is real. This is just stuff that other people have said, and it logically does not connect. Southern Season says, when I first went through your course a couple of years ago, you were not pushing Reels and live sales, but I am excited to learn more about these and start implementing. Yeah, so Reels is new. It's new to Facebook. So years ago, I couldn't talk about Reels because there wasn't Reels. When I first started, I would say it was 20. So I started technically at the beginning of 2019. I want to say it was only 3 or 4 months. I would have to check with Debbie. That Debbie Romanu came to me and said, "What about this Facebook Live sale thing?" And I said, "Yeah, I've been seeing some stuff like that. I'm not quite sure. I've never done anything like that." I knew about going Facebook Live myself for my business, but for a handmade business, I didn't see the strong connection. So this has got to be a few months into 2019. And I said, let's watch some. And she and I sat down and had some calls together on what would we do, like using marketing principles. How do we get people to show up? How do you actually run the live? And so she's like, all right, I'm going to test all this out. She went on and made like $1,200. She went on again and made like $1,500. I think her highest sale was $2,500. And you know why she sold more that time? Because she stayed on longer. She made like twice as much if she stayed on twice as long. And she went live for 8 weeks in a row. And she's like, Allie, can I keep doing this? I'm like, just keep trying. And so she used the money after like 8 weeks or so. She was like, all right, I just made a crap ton of money and I've always wanted to have my own studio. So I'm going to go off and do that. And she did. So from that point forward, I taught Facebook Lives. I didn't push them because so many people are afraid to go live, right? And I actually was talking to the team the other day and I was saying, if it wasn't for the fears of going live, I would position my entire program as like the Facebook Live program, right? This is how you make a ton of money online by going Facebook Live. Everything would still need to be there. You still need to have unique product focus. You would still need to do power posts because you got to have your audience engaged. You still have to attract audience members. You still have to have a unique product focus. Everything's the same, but it would end at Facebook Lives. The only reason why I do not position my program that way is because I know, and there may be a time in the future where I do sell it that way. Like this is the biggest opportunity for handmade sellers is Facebook Lives and Facebook Live sales on Facebook. You can do it on TikTok. You can do it on other platforms, but I think Facebook's like the easiest place to start. It's the biggest opportunity. It really, really is. But I don't position it that way because of the comments that I'm seeing here, right? Like it's hard for me to sell you on a program that can make you lots and lots and lots of money. If I tell you now sit in front of a camera, right? That scares a lot of people. I don't want to be live. I don't want to be on camera. So Handmade Sellers Club, we position as you can sell from the post because you totally can. And you can sell a lot of product from the post. So we start you there, making sales, getting the ball rolling. And then I spend a lot of time in HSC running those Facebook Live challenges. We do 3 or 4 of those per year. The reason I do those challenges specifically is to get people like they'll come this far, they're making sales, they're doing good, and then they hit that brick wall, they just will not go live. And so a lot of what I'm doing in HSC is trying to get you the confidence that you can get on those lives and you have an audience and that it's going to be okay. Because that is where the biggest money is to be made. We have a vision for small shop discovery in the future to actually kind of become like a network where every evening we are hosting Facebook Live sales that sellers come onto our platform and sell to our audience, both on Facebook and YouTube. I would love to build something like that. If any of you guys know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, he has been recently talking about live selling and that like this is the future. He said if you live in China, you already know it. They're already doing it there. And we're doing it here, but we haven't really it hasn't really taken off as like there's not a live selling platform other than Whatnot, which tends to be directed towards collectors. I've actually talked to a representative at Whatnot, and it didn't make sense for HSC members because I'm like, you got to go to Whatnot and build an audience there. We already have the audience on Facebook. If you already have the audience on Facebook, just sell to your Facebook audience. Don't send them to Whatnot. Although if you're on Whatnot, it's nothing wrong with that. It's just know that you have to build an audience once you're there. And if you already have an audience on Facebook, you can just jump the line and sell to your own audience. But it is the biggest opportunity. It is by far the biggest opportunity right now. I was sharing the webinar last night when I was doing the research for the webinar. I was finding Natasha's screenshot I did of Natasha when she was like, I did my very first Facebook Live and sold out of 60 gift baskets. Like they're gone. 60 of them. People were upset that they didn't get them. The Facebook Lives. And then Michelle King talks about, she goes live every week. She's like, I sell something from my live every week, and they're not even live sales. She's just showing off stuff that she's made. And people, I want that. I need that. They're messaging her after, and people watch the replays. So yeah, if you, I don't know maybe why you missed that when you were in my program earlier. Like I said, the Reels is something that's new in general. When it first came out, we kind of sat back to see whether or not it was worth pursuing, and it was, and it is, and it's something that I short form video, very good opportunity with short form video. Great way to get more audience members, and you can make sales from them too. Not just can, they do make sales. But Facebook Live, I've been beating the Facebook Live drum for a while. I would beat it louder if I didn't think it scared the bejeebies out of too many people. Diane says, I'm afraid people will see my small apartment and my hoarding ways. So again, there is a little bit of a difference between I'm going to go live in my craft room, and that's where all my stuff is. If it's craft supplies, that's not a problem. Like, you just call it out and say, this is all my craft supplies. If it's simply that your home is messy, and you have, things piled on top of things, that's fair enough that some people are going to make some subconscious judgments on that. And more likely it's just going to be distracting, that they're paying attention to what's happening behind you. But there are, like, I think you can do it on StreamYard. I'm not sure, but there are apps and things that will blur your background. There are apps that will replace your background. Now that's a little bit tough with live sales because sometimes it doesn't pick it up. But if it's important enough to you, Diane, if this is something important that you really want to make sales, clear an area. Just clear an area, put a little table behind you with a couple of small little things, and that's your live area. Again, it's a matter of, is it more important that these boxes stay where they are, or this stuff stays where it is, or is it more important for me to make sales? Invite a friend over, have them help you clear the area out, say, I just need this part for my studio, and that's it. Now, that's assuming that this is like a severe case. It could be, it could be that I'm way more of a hoarder than you, right? Different people judge themselves harsher or less based on where their standard is. I have all this books and stuff behind me, so it's kind of cluttery looking behind me, but I like that. Like, I like that aesthetic, and I'm perfectly fine with it. So yeah, ask yourself if it's really distracting, and maybe just take a picture and post it to Handmade Sellers Club. Take a selfie of you in front of the area where you would go live and say, is what's behind me distracting or not? And if the members say, yeah, that's pretty distracting, then clear some spots out, like rearrange, just pretty it up, or just tidy it up, right? If you got trash just laying behind you, just pick up the trash. And you don't have to do it to the whole apartment. Just do it to your little space, just so that it's not distracting. Southern Season says, yay, weird people. I think so. I like weird people. I like being weird. I am very happy to be weird. We call them normies in our house. I'm like, yeah, all the normies out there. And there are plenty of normal people, and I love a lot of normal people. But some of my favorite people on the planet match my weirdness, and I match their weirdness, and I'm one of their favorite people. I'm perfectly okay with that. And again, if somebody comes here and is like, she's weird, then if you say that as a pejorative, we're not a good match. And I'm probably far less weird on camera here than I am in person. I'm also very awkward. I am socially very awkward. If I'm at like a cocktail party, who goes to a cocktail party? But if I'm like at a networking event and I don't really know people there, I am so awkward. I'm like awkward potato, as my kids would say. I'm just like, I don't know where to put my hands. I don't know how to drink casually that I look like I'm fit in with the people around me. I feel like I stick out like I'm so self-conscious. So that's something I have to work on. I'm going to be networking at a trade show in May, and I'm like, what do I want more? Do I want to feel comfortable? Right? Is it more important that I feel comfortable, or is it more important that I get the information that I went to this trade show and I'm spending money to go to this trade show to get? This is more important, right? This is the whole reason I'm going. So I've got to work through that. Like, all right, I'm very uncomfortable and feeling awkward, but I can't dwell on that because this is more important. And I just have to assume that I'm coming across this as normal enough to be out in public. Peggy says, that is not for me. I like the natural person. Be who you are. That's how I feel. That was another one that I always called BS on with and I don't know if you meant that towards the makeup or not, but like if men are allowed to show their face in public without makeup, hear me out. Women are too. There's nothing inherently wrong with our faces that we have to put makeup on it to be acceptable. That blows my mind. Now, I put on a little bit of lip gloss, a little bit, because sometimes I want to reuse these videos and stuff, and I would just like to look a little bit not washed out. Sometimes I look really washed out, but I didn't have this for like 2 weeks. It was in my backpack. I was just too lazy to get it out, and I didn't have it on a bunch of calls, and I doubt anybody even noticed. And if they did, they didn't cancel my program because I didn't have lip gloss on. I think guys sometimes could even use a little bit of lip gloss, just so that like your face is not all the same color. But I can go on without lip gloss. Like it's perfectly fine because this is my face. This is what it looks like. I don't need to hide it. Now, if you like and enjoy makeup, go for it. But I call bull crap on this whole, I have to wear makeup. And that's what ultimately got me to stop wearing makeup, was that when I realized I feel like I have to have it on or else I'm uncomfortable presenting myself in public. And I'm looking around at these men and I'm like, they've barely washed their face. And I have to go through all of this, and that's respectable. And this is bull crap. I'm showing up the way I show up. Let's see. Tiffany says a script of sorts might help to begin with. I'm much better at writing than speaking out loud. I would say bullet points. If you try to do a script, and I have a script like that I did for the webinar last night, and I always hate that I have to follow it, but if I don't, I get a little too off track. I've got to be mindful of time. And so there are times that I will read from the script and I hate it because it doesn't sound like me. But if that's where you need to start, if you start with a script because that's where you're comfortable, then just start doing it that way. Just write down. And again, I like bullet points because they can keep you on track. But try to write the way that you speak. And don't be afraid to go off script. And maybe that's the practicing, right? Starting with the script and then learning how to go off script, off script, off script, off script until you finally don't need a script. I still will tend to have some bullet points. I have ideas of what I want to say. And I have to have them in front of me because I will lose track big time. Southern Season says, Allie, you are very encouraging. Thank you. I hope so. I try to be. I really care about people, right? And nothing, I care, not just that I care about people, I care about empowering people. I it hurts me to see somebody shrink themselves when they're cool and they're awesome and they have a great personality and they're just a neat person, right? That deserves everything that they want, but they shrink themselves because of worrying about what everybody else has to say. I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was something. It's Frank Kern's podcast, and you guys might not resonate too much with Frank Kern. He's a marketing guy, but he's not like product sales. And somebody asked him, if you were 20 years old and you could give yourself, if you could like insert a today mindset into 20-year-old you, what would it be? And he's like, not to give a crap what anybody else thinks. Like, just don't give a crap. Don't, just do the thing. He said, every time that I was concerned about what other people thought, I made the biggest mistakes. I shrunk and I lost out on big opportunities because I was worried about what this person was going to say and what that person was going to say and will they do business with me or not. And he talked about somebody giving him somebody writing a blog post about like what's wrong. Frank Kern is what's wrong with the world, right? Frank Kern is an example of what's wrong with the world. And he goes, literally, if I didn't know that blog post existed, my life would have changed 0%. The only thing that was different was that I knew that the blog post existed and now it's in my head. Right. But he said, literally, my business wouldn't have changed. So for me, that I went from that shrinking and hiding your light under a basket and feeling small to stepping into my power. And it's so much better over here. And so when somebody comes into the program and they're like, I don't think I can do this. And then they start doing it and they gain that confidence and they gain that confidence. And then they're like, all right, they're doing lives and they're making sales and they're going on vacations. And next thing you know, they're coming up with ideas like, actually, if we take what Allie teaches here and add this piece, like Michelle King did, like she came in and she's like, let's do this March Madness style bracket thing. And I learned a ton from her doing that. And then I'm like, look at you. Like, and not that Michelle King has ever been small because Michelle King's not small, but when I see somebody grow like that and they say like my personal relationships, I'm stronger and more empowered. At my job, I'm stronger and more empowered, and just living life as a real authentic version of themselves, knowing that they can do that, knowing that they can learn new things and accomplish stuff they never thought that they could do before. Nothing gives me a thrill like that. And I know what it feels like to not feel power. We all know that, right? We all have these moments where we feel powerless, where we feel small, where we feel disempowered. Hate that feeling. And I don't want you to have that. I don't want that feeling. And then I see other people having that feeling. I'm like, no. Like, what can I do to help you feel that power? Because it feels so much better to have the power than to shrink and feel like I have no power. So yeah, if this is encouraging to you, I'm doing my job, because I want you to feel your power. I want you to know that like you can do this. Terry says, I go live once or twice a week. Nobody is ever watching my live, but they watch it later. It actually makes me feel more comfortable because I'm talking to myself. I like me as an audience. No joke. It's like a video, just no do-over. Yeah. And that's like, again, people are like, what if nobody shows up? Well, how do you know nobody's going to watch the replay? People watch the replay all the time. People are always watching replay. People are going to watch this replay right here. People are going to watch this as a replay. And we've had some members say that they make more sales from the replays than they do on the live, even with like a lot of people on the live, that they'll make more from the replay sales. But yeah, I like talking to myself too. It's the weirdest thing. That's why I like watching my actual video and not like the delayed version on in the group or whatever. Because I'm like, hey, there you are. Like, I don't know. I'm talking to me and it's cool. And if I take this screen away, I don't enjoy it as much. If I were to like look at, like if I were reading a script or something and I couldn't see my face, I don't know. When I see me and I'm talking to me, I feel way more comfortable. And just hanging out with my friend Allie, video Allie. Um, let's see. Southern Season says, nobody takes a helicopter to the top of the mountain. You've got to dig your fingers and feet in, one hand, 1 foot at a time, and climb. Um, I would take the helicopter too, but except I'm afraid of helicopters. That is a fear that I have. But yeah, no. So the way I would say is, nobody gets to the top of the mountain in one step. You just don't. You just can't. Like literally, unless you're already there, and then take one step. But if you're at the bottom of the mountain, you cannot get to the top of the mountain in one step. It's impossible. And it's the same with business and business success, learning new skills. You've got to do it over and over and over and over again. Lana says, love Debbie. I have quite a bit of her jewelry. You were probably on those early Debbie live sale days. Diane says, most of it is craft things in big boxes stacked up. If it's really bothering you, just straighten it up a little bit. Are you really going to let that hold you back? I think just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Beady Glitz Galore says, bullet points is a great idea because I totally get off track myself. Yeah, so I'll be rambling and then I look down and say, oh, okay, even like when I do my Monday lives in Handmade Sellers Club, I have bullet points of make sure you don't forget these things, because I have a lot of, I do not have a lot of object permanence. Like if it's not in front of me, it doesn't exist. I have a really difficult time remembering stuff like that. So yeah, just a couple. I used to jot it down. Now we use ClickUp to do most of what we do as a team. And so I have a little to-do that comes up every week, and I've got previous subjects that I've talked about, and I go through and I uncheck the things that I know I need to talk about. Like, oh, we got the challenge next week, so I need to make sure I talk about that on this live. And then there's a couple more things that I need to add to this list, and then I have it there, and I'll pop over and I'll look at that list and say, oh, okay, I got to talk about that. I have to talk about that. I used to just write it manually. Lana says, you helped me a lot in building my confidence and find my worth. Not afraid to say no to anybody asking for a deal now, knowing full well that I can sell my stuff at my own prices anytime, anywhere. Damn straight, Lana. Yes, you can. Yeah, no, Lana's a great example of this, because when I first talked to Lana, she was like undercharging for her products. And I don't want to say that Lana shrinks, because Lana's Lana, you come across to me as a pretty confident person in general, but it is different when you're putting yourself out there in an artistic way, and wondering, is somebody going to pay for this? Is somebody going to actually like this? And that feeling of having to say yes to everybody happens to us all, and it's very common early on in business. But as you build that confidence and say, I can pick what projects to say yes to, I can pick which products to say no to, and I can pick my prices. And if somebody else doesn't like that price, so that comes back to the same thing, right? If you were to price in a way that everybody on the planet is willing to pay that price, it is impossible to be profitable. It is impossible. Just by your prices, people are going to be turned off. The Handmade Sellers Club is only $27 a month, and we don't get a lot of complaints about that. But every now and again, somebody's like, well, I don't have $27 to spend, and why can't you give this? Like, how low do I need to make it? How low do I need to make it to make everybody want to join? And that's where sometimes my team, because they're still kind of new here, they're like, I don't understand why everybody isn't in Handmade. It's only $27 a month. And they know the value that is there, because they see it, and they've been listening to me talk about wins from clients for years and years and years. We go over the wins every week at our team meeting. We go over the wins of the members from the Friday wins post, and they're all excited about it. They're like, this is so great. Like, good job. Like, look at you. And even if somebody makes a separate post, the team will message each other. It's like, oh my gosh, did you see that post so-and-so made? That's so awesome. That's so amazing. And then they're like, but it's only $27 a month. Like, why are people just jumping on that? And I've even had peers say like $27 a month is such a complete no-brainer. And I have coaches telling me I need to charge a lot more for it, but I'm comfortable at $27 a month. I feel good at that price. And I'm like, I don't know, like, yes, some people are in that financial dire straits. We've been there. I talk about spending my last $20 on a marketing book. Literally didn't know how we were going to buy diapers that week, but we're going to figure it out one way or another. But knowing that these strategies are going to get you sales in return, like, and I think a lot of it comes down to people don't trust themselves to actually work the system. I really think that's what keeps a lot of people from joining something like this. I don't even remember where I was going with that. But yeah, no, it's a oh, I was trying to say, like, how low would my price need to be for somebody who didn't even trust themselves to do the system to join? Like, somebody who, do I need to charge $1 a month? Well, there's just no way it's sustainable at that. There's no way we could be profitable at that. And I guarantee you there will still be people that would not join at $1 a month. There are people that won't join because they won't think it has any value. And I think we do have that problem too. At $27 a month, people say, how good could it actually be if it's only $27 a month? And so that's another hurdle that we have to jump over. So you're never going to make them all happy. Never. So just show up as you, confidently ask the prices that you want, and draw in the people that are the match for that. That's the secret. That's all I'm talking about here. That's the whole shebang. So I'm going to drop the link for Handmade Sellers Club one more time, because I want to make sure that anybody that's on here that may not be a member yet, there's the link for it. You can try a 2-week trial for only $7. Brenda says, what does $27 a month get you? Oh my gosh, it gets you everything. So $27 a month, everything you need to start making sales on Facebook. So we give you the super seller system. In the super seller system, we teach you how to make posts. We help you give your page a makeover. We help you pick your unique product focus. We show you how to get more followers. We do the Facebook Live training. We have the quick cash method, which is a way for you to go off and get sales on Facebook, even if you have 0 followers. And you also get the Prompts for Profits calendar, which $27 a month, Prompts for Profits calendar. The Prompts for Profits calendar is probably worth $100 a month or more. Just the calendar by itself. And the calendar is daily prompts. So today is April 15th. You open up the calendar, look at April 15th, and it tells you exactly what to post to your page today. Not word for word, it's a prompt, right? So it's like, hey, tell a story about a product that you made recently that was a custom order or something. We don't usually do that because not everybody does custom orders. But like, do a scale of 1 to 10 post, or answer a frequently asked question. And all of those posts are designed to get you more engagement, to get people leaning in, to get your audience engaged with you, and to make sales. The PFP is fantastic. We've been doing that for years now. There are people that have been using it since I first launched it every single day religiously for years, because it takes all the guesswork out of it. You just follow the prompt. You also get my Pricing for Profits masterclass along with the calculator. You get access to the Handmade Sellers Club, a private Facebook group where you can ask questions. In fact, in the Super Seller Success Roadmap that goes with the Super Seller system, we're like, hey, are you stuck here? Ask in the group. If you're stuck on this part, ask this question in the group, and we'll help you solve that, right? So you're never on your own. You never have to like go. Sometimes you buy a course and you're like, okay, how does that apply to me? We give you the community to help you with that. We do a Monday call where I'm answering questions about to Handmade Sellers Club members specifically. We also talk about new things with Facebook, new marketing strategies, new ways of approaching things. Like when Reels came out, we talked about it on the Monday call before I actually created a course on it. And then on Tuesdays, my assistant coach Willow actually does like a group coaching call about an aspect of the superseller system. So you can ask her questions directly and she'll go back and forth with you there. We also have Small Shop Discovery. If you're a Handmade Sellers Club member, we have a website called Small Shop Discovery. If you create a profile there and list products, then we shop through that and we'll promote your products on our Facebook page. But we will also pick products and contact you and say, hey, we would love to give that product away on the Small Shop Discovery giveaway party. Would you like to come on live with us and give it away? We'll pay for it, but you're going to come on, talk all about your business and do a giveaway. And we've had as many as 120 people on those giveaway parties. We've had people making sales. They definitely get more followers. We share members their own giveaways. We'll share it to our list of 7,000 email subscribers and over 3,000 people on Facebook. We've had like a Facebook post likes giveaway go from like 5 people entered to 150 people entered because we shared it. So there's all kinds of cool stuff. I am going to do a separate video about Small Shop Discovery and everything that comes with Small Shop Discovery. That's where we have big plans, but only HSC members get featured on Small Shop Discovery. So it's only for HSC members. Small Shop Discovery by itself is worth like $27 a month, especially with what we're going to be adding. So you get a ton of stuff when you're an HSC member. Brenda says, I paid my $27 and haven't received anything that I know of. So you should have gotten an email with the login information. I see people are saying Thrivecart. Thrivecart's just a platform where we host the program itself. So you should have gotten an email with your access. If you didn't, check your spam and check your promotions folder. But send us an email. I'm going to drop the email link again. Anytime if you're ever like, hey, I don't think I have, just send us an email. Send us an email to that email address right there with the email address you signed up with, and Danny will get you all set up and tell you exactly how to access everything. Let's see. Susan says thousands of video trainings and thousands of live training. I don't know that it's thousands, but it's a lot. there's thousands of minutes worth for sure. Maybe 1,000 hours worth. There's a lot in there. But some of it's extra when you're ready to go further. Others are only if you need it. But the Superseller roadmap, success roadmap, make sure that you watch the most essential and the most important. There's just tons and tons of stuff in there. I don't want to say stuff. Fantastic training resources, templates to get you to sales the fastest way possible. As long as you follow the roadmap. If you go in and you jump around, you're not going to get anywhere. Follow the roadmap, follow the roadmap, follow the roadmap. All right, excuse me. I guess since I'm losing my voice, that's my signal that I should be wrapping up. We only covered really the don't like being on camera. So next month, I think that we might pick another subject. I think this is a good, I like this for at least one of these lives per month is, really talking about the mindset stuff. So I'll keep this on hand and we'll talk about, I know a lot of you guys voted for other stuff, but we'll go through it again. And some of it we covered, like what if I fail in front of everyone? We kind of talked about that, but we'll go through some other ones later. So if you're down with that, check us out on these lives. Next week, we're going to be doing a hot seat. So we're going to ask a handmade seller to volunteer in HSC, a Handmade Sellers Club member to volunteer in HSC. So if you're an HSC member, look for that. We're going to pick one person to come on here live with me, and I'm going to coach you on your business. So if you're stuck, if you have questions, if you're looking for your unique product focus, not sure what it is, if you're having any issues with your business, if you're just starting out and not quite sure what you need to be doing first, roadmap. But like if you're feeling stuck, I hear a lot of people say, I'm not ready for a hot seat. Then you need a hot seat. Like there's no ready for the hot seat. We just jump in and we work on where you're at now. Let's get you ready for the next thing so you could potentially do another hot seat in the future. So that is that. Thank you again, everybody. Diane says, thank you, Allie. You encouraged me more. Good. I'm so glad that I've done my job here. HSC members, I'll see you on next Monday's live. Everybody else, I'll see you here next Tuesday. Oh, HSC members, Willow's going to be live here in about 40 minutes. I'll see you next week. And then for everybody else here, if you're not an HSC member, what are you doing? Just click the link and join. Take the 2-week trial. It's $7, $7 for 2 weeks. Come on in, take a look around, see if it's a good match for you, see if I'm a good match for you. And then I will be live here next week with a hot seat. So let's do this. Bye.